be 300,000 Kenya shilling. And our selling price will be 400,000 Kenya shilling, hence making a profit of 100,000 Kenya shilling. If you get, I told you that the estimated demand for this ball mill, 2018-2019, is 255. If you get just for the start 20% of that market, we are talking about 50 ball mills, which will cost around 15 million to produce, and we sell it at 20 million, hence making a profit of 5 million. But we can be able to reduce the cost of production if you can get our own workshop, our own, okay, thank you, our own working area. And if you have our own working area, you'll be able to perfect on what we do. So, if you get our workshop, the cost of production will be reduced by 18%, hence making 80% more profit. Our offer to the investor who is interested, I can see a lot of them here, is if you get these finances, we are going to give that percent equity in the production. So you can see the amount of money that we are talking about in the next 1 year. It is a lot. So for acknowledgement, we want to acknowledge JICA and Jomo Kenyatta University of Technology and Agriculture and Technology for funding us to reach at this point we are. We have 2 models, we have another bigger than this. They have funded us to research about it up to this point. And ladies and gentlemen, and I think this can be us taking the equipment to the customers, ready for assembly and commissioning. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Professor, please go ahead, ask them some questions.
You said it's going to cost 300,000,
Yeah.
and you sell it for
400,000.
400. A margin of?
100,000 Kenya shilling.
A margin to 18. What percentage is that?
Yeah, 25%.
20, 25. Then the other is after 255. So what?
That is the cost demand for just 2018-2019. After the formalization and the legalization of the artisanal and small scale mining in Kenya, the demand will grow.
And 30% equity will be 6.8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a few technical questions.
Okay.
What is the amount of time that the ball mill machine can run?
It depends with the type of ore that you are using. You have tried to do some tests and do sieve analysis. It was coming about 40 minutes per round.
40 minutes per
Yeah,
round?
yeah.
Okay. Have you been specifically researching on processing of gold ore? Have you looked at other minerals?
Yeah.
I know you mentioned iron ore,
Yeah.
but any other minerals?
In the other model that I have been testing it on site. I've been grading copper ore, iron ore, and recently I ground limestone.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Last question is, what is the plan for maintenance for the artisanal miners once they've bought your machine?
We are going to provide them with 1 year warranty, where we'll be servicing them, training them on how to use and service the machine. Maybe if the rubber lining inside has weared out or the lifter has gone off, we are going to train them on the technical of the machine, on how to repair and maintain the machine.
And then also to add on that, we also have machine specifications, some manuals for them to use. So we are preparing for that.
How many tons can you do per day from this machine?
The one that you have, the bigger one than this, can grade 100 kg per round. So if you work for 10 hours, you can go to grade like 1 ton.
So this is not the equipment you are selling?
Yeah. These are small, as you have some range of models. It depends with the capacity that you require.
Okay. So there is a bigger model to this. This is the smaller model.
Which one is it? 300,000?
The bigger one.
The bigger one.
And just to explain, the bigger one could not come into the Intercontinental Hotel. The lift cannot take it.
Okay.
That's the reason
But
we couldn't bring it.
The cost will depend with the capacity that you require.
So we have a range of costs.
This one is like 250.
250.
250. The price go up because it has a VFD, which is more expensive. The other one has a soft starter. That is for motor protection.
There should be no hesitation when Her Excellency asks how much. You say 250 and you go there for the check.
Tell me about your field testing. What challenges did you see in the field while you were testing?
Before this model come to this point, it looked otherwise. Maybe if you have brought it today, you could never accept it. But you have been improved it. For the first time that we are testing, the first issue was transmission. So we improved it. We coupled direct, so the problem was solved. The other thing was the motor protection. It was just an online starter, which improved by making this custom-made control box, which protect the motor. I think that right now I've not faced any other challenge.
Let's take a couple of questions from Mr. Paul. Maybe you could start with your impressions. What is your impression about this? And then a couple of questions.
I like the practicality of it. That really looks ready for the field, as this is something that I can use. What I'm looking for is how robust it is in the field. And that's for the field testing. And how easy is this to maintain? You said you have manuals and you have the ability to change the line and those things. How long can it run before it needs servicing?
Let me answer. For the first 6 months, the liner should be replaced. But in the ordinary cases, in the first 1 year, they replace the drum. So the liner will be replaced after 6 months. And then the bearing life, the bearings will go all the way because we have worked on the vibrations. They will go all the way to the determined life as by the manufacturer. So we don't expect a catastrophic failure. And then when it comes to the motor, we have protection for the motor in case we are using the motor. So we don't expect the motor to fail in case of power problems. We have taken care of that.
To make it more interesting, the equipment is still under more research. Like he is working on the vibrations right now to improve it for future. We want every time that we produce a new equipment to be an improved version of the older version.
Should it be spring mounted in some way on some kind of shocks and vibration system, or should it be rigid?
We will install some rubber when we are mounting it down there. Yes. So it is part of the design. But we have not already put some of them here. But we have provision for that.
And a quick one on the financials. Have you factored in failure rates in your machines in terms of the number you're selling and your revenue? Do you expect 100% to work every time?
Come again.
Oh,
please.
yes, I will answer. Yeah. There is a failure rate, but to be honest, we have not yet done that. We have not factored the failure rates, but we will work on that when it comes to large-scale production. For example, when you scale up to 50, we'll put that as a factor when you are selling.
Yes, if I told you that your margins cannot sustain you because of the many variables, like you import the raw material, the dollar fluctuates, that 25% is not sufficient to keep you alive. What do you say?
About the raw material, the machine is made of about 80% locally available material. Because this is mild steel.
Where?
Mild steel is the locally available material. We are not importing anything apart from maybe the motor only. And about the motor, most of the artisanal small scale miners don't use the motor, they use the engine. Because in the area.
I'm telling you this from theory that a margin of below 20%, the volume has to be very high for you to be sustainable.
Yeah.
Did you lower your margins because you wanted it to be attractive price or because of the competition?
There's no competition actually right now in Kenya. So what we wanted to make the machine to be accessible and affordable to the artisanal small scale miners.
So the key thing here is that this is locally manufactured. There is imported components, yes, but with the progressive production of this equipment, they will localize as much as possible to reduce the importation percentage and to increase that national content where it's available. There's components of it which they would still need to import. But we take, Professor, your concern and comment on profitability. We know that this is a very price-sensitive market, the artisanal and small scale. So there's a limit to what extent we can charge. The core of it, Honorable Majala, the core of it, do we have something here that you can say this is working?
I think you definitely have something that is working, something that is viable for the industry. I share Professor's sentiments of the profit margin, because we're here to make money, it's not charity.
Yes.
So if it was to go to 70, 80, 200% as your profit margin, then we'd be writing the check.
Okay.
Because we know we're getting. What I would suggest, and maybe before I make my suggestion, just ask one question. What is the size, or rather, can you vary the size of output from the machine? Can I stop it at certain millimeters of, for example, the iron ore production, not necessarily the powder, but get it to certain sizes, 30 ml, 60 mm?
About that one, you are going to vary some parameters inside. Maybe the grading time or the amount of input that you get into the machine.
Okay.
That one is going to give you the output that you require.
So that then leads to my suggestion. I think you have a wider market than the gold industry.
Thank you.
Think you, to even start addressing some of Professor's sentiments, you need to look at the gemstone industry, which looks at the value addition of gemstones with slightly smaller milling machines than this, and there you can look at longer running times as well. You need to look at whether you can vary your sizes of production so that you can sell to more people who don't want just a powder as the output. Your pricing may require further analysis, because yes, the artisanal miners are very sensitive on how they will pay and what they will pay, but I think you have a very good product on your hands.
About the price,
Great.
the model that you have, it costs around 300,000 Kenya shilling, and you saw it. So what you are providing them is improved model at the in their price that can be able to buy it.
It is not what you think they would pay, but the value proposition you provide.
Okay.
Excellent
If it is
comment.
compelling, then because you are a monopoly, you should make the call and have the premium price. Because if you get a very thin margin, and then Taita University replicates this, they will shut you out from that market.
We would like to bring in the next presenter. And we would like to have here Samuel and Zacchaeus describe very briefly what these two innovators want to discuss with us here. They are going to manufacture plastic core boxes from recycled plastics here in Kenya to serve the region, the African continent, and the world. So for those of you wondering, what is a plastic core box? You will be informed, and we all know what recycled plastics are, and they are a menace.
In front of you are two fourth-year mining engineering students from the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. And we are also a pair of innovators who have realized a grave problem in the society, one that affects not only the immediate environment that we live in, but also the mining environment. And still at that, we have come up with a simple but credible solution that ensures a win-win situation for both the instances. Ladies and gentlemen, we have decided to use plastics that are a menace to the society to come up with a product that is very essential in mining. Welcome to NeuroPlus Cobox Solutions, and we hope you'll enjoy the presentation.
My name is Zakia Sokoth.
And I'm Samuel Kagunyu.
In order to understand clearly what these core boxes are, allow us to share with you a very short video that would help you understand and appreciate why we need these core boxes.
This whole process begins in a process called core drilling. So a drilling rig propels a metal piece downwards into the surface of the earth and extracts cylindrical columns of rock that are called core samples. These drilling rods are attached to ring-shaped cutters, which are made of either diamond or tungsten, some of the hardest materials on earth. We have struck oil in tallow. These people usually have to go, drill, take these samples to the lab, analyze them, and tell you exactly the component or the percentage of gold that they have acquired, or the amount of petroleum. not only in the mining industry or in the oil and petroleum industry, but also in the civil engineering and construction works. Before these mega structures are built, they have to drill and see the qualities, the properties of maybe the rocks or the soil, how strong is it. Before they build the roads, they have to do this. So these core samples are very important and necessary, and also the core boxes are of paramount importance.
Why are we interested in core box, not any other product? Please, some of the reasons that makes us interested in this product are the following. Imagine in the whole region of Kenya, if not East Africa, we don't have any established company or an individual carrying out the production of these boxes commercially. So it leaves our drilling contractors with a very difficult task in order to obtain these particular core boxes. In the process, a lot of time is wastage. Imagine if you are a drilling contractor today and you got a contract today, then you have to start thinking about assembling these boxes. Number two, we have a problem of deforestation. Majority of the core boxes that are used by most of the contractors, drilling contractors especially operating within the country, are made from wood. And since the maximum number of times that wooden boxes can be used by these people are only 3 times, therefore need for more wooden boxes. Therefore, they will be going back to the forest. But then look at this. Look at it this way. Who knows the current percentage of forest cover in the country? It's around 7%. But then the country is launching an ambitious plan to make sure that by 2022 we have a percentage of 15%. If we were to continue doing the production of the wooden core boxes, don't you think this is a drawback? But again, if you shift your view again and look at it this way, currently we have a ban in the cutting down, logging of wood within the whole country, all the forests within the country. Therefore, you can only imagine what kind of problem our contractors are going through in order to obtain these particular boxes. The prices have actually risen. So that is problem number 2. Number 3, we have a problem of plastic pollution. It has actually become a nightmare, and we know that plastics waste are actually non-biodegradable. So therefore, it implies that a huge solid waste are actually being deposited in our drainage systems, rivers, and thereby sometimes even if you watch through the news, you watch helplessly. You see a lot of flooding taking place everywhere. But then that should not continue. You realize that sometimes a source of problem can be a source of salvation. And we saw this carefully, that this plastic waste can actually be used to make something of useful in mining.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce you to the very first ever made plastic core box from recycled plastics. This is a core box, and you can see some marks here. We intentionally scratched this to show you that it's actually plastic. It's just paint coated. So this plastic core box is actually of superior quality than the wooden core box. This can be used for a minimum of about 5 times. It comes in a cheaper price than the wooden core box, and definitely handles the core better. You can imagine if you're a geologist and this drilling contractor brings you some core samples in such